believe it was Sunday evening when I became aware of a possible report from August of 2019 concerning Anthony Warner. The matter of report in and of itself presented a number of questions to which we needed to find more information about before we discussed it publicly. Research on the August 2019 call and police action began on Sunday and continued through this morning as we got more information. Here's what we know. On Wednesday morning, August 21st, 2019, South Precinct patrol officers responded to Seaford Lane on a report from an attorney that a woman who lived there had made suicidal threats and was sitting on her front porch with firearms. Upon arrival, officers saw the woman did have two pistols on her front porch next to her, but they were not in her possession and were unloaded. The woman said the guns belonged to Tony Warner and that she did not want them in her house any longer. During the officer's conversation with the woman, she said that her boyfriend, Warner, was building bombs in an RV trailer at his residence. The attorney said that Warner frequently talked about military and bomb making, and that he believed Warner knew that what he was doing and was capable of making a bomb. Out of concern for the woman's emotional state, officers called mobile crisis. They in turn spoke with the woman and determined that she was in need of care. Based on what they heard, South Precinct officers responded to Warner's home on Bakertown Road, knocked on the door but received no answer. They saw the RV in the backyard. It was fenced off and they could not see inside the RV. Officers tried several times to get a response at the door. They knocked and knocked and knocked, but never made contact with Anthony Warner. One of the responding officers called the hazardous device unit and relayed the substance of the call. The following day, hazardous device unit officer Kevin Pollard began follow-up. On the 22nd, Officer Pollard sent a narrative over to the FBI Nashville office to do a check on Warner for prior military connections. Later in the day, on August 22nd, the FBI report came back that it checked the holdings and found no records whatsoever on Warner. On August 28th, the FBI reported that Department of Defense checks on Warner was all negative. During this time, Officer Pollard reports that he drove by the home for several days and he had an officer on standby just in the event that if he made contact with Officer Warner, they could do a knock and talk and try to get inside the residence or inside of the mobile home. Officer Pollard continued trying to make contact with Warner through no avail through his landline as well. On August 29th, 2019, Officer Pollard phoned the attorney who was on the scene during the suicidal call. During that conversation, Officer Pollard said that he was attempting to locate Warner and that he was told that he was known to go on camping trips for weeks at a time. Officer Pollard recalled asking whether he could just take a look inside the RV parked behind Warner's home. Officer Pollard recalls the attorney telling him that Warner did not care for the police and I am not going to be able to let you all do that. It's a quote. Officer Pollard recalls the attorney saying that Warner is capable of making a bomb, but didn't believe he was doing so and didn't believe he was violent. Also during late August, our Specialized Investigations Division looked for any open source information on Warner and they found none. At no time was there evidence or reasonable suspicion that a crime was being committed, and our officers had no legal basis to go into Warner's fenced-in yard or home during August 2019. No additional action was taken after late August, and to the best of my knowledge, no other reports or information about Warner came into the police department. We did not have the knowledge in August 2019, and we had no legal basis for search warrants or subpoenas based on what we knew at the time. Officer Pollard, as a member of our HDU team, has been working the blast site with our federal partners, and I actually pulled him off of the site this morning to get more information pertaining to this. With that said, I'll take any questions.
Hey, Chief, a couple questions here. I'm curious. I know that obviously there's a process here and hindsight is 2020. But what would it have taken for officers to have legally searched that RV?
Well, to our knowledge, we only had one call for service. That was the lady who had made suicidal threats, and that she was subsequently unavailable. We received no other calls, so it would have been good if we had received more calls. Officer Pollard, who works in our explosive unit, said he couldn't smell any type of explosive at the house. There was no signs of any bomb making, so it would have taken signs that actual crime was being committed, that a bomb was actually being made. But to the officer's view, the only thing he saw was an RV that he couldn't see inside and that he wasn't allowed access into it.
You had the, Chief, you had the girlfriend's claim. Chief, you had the girlfriend's claim. Chief, one more quick question. You had the girlfriend's claim he was making a bomb in the RV. You had the attorney's claim that he had the knowledge to do it, and yet that still wasn't enough.
That's not enough. I mean, you have a girlfriend that said that, and really they could say that about me. They could say that I have the ability, that I'm making a bomb, and that I have the ability to do so, but it doesn't give people the right to go inside. But even with that being said, the officers knocked on the door several times. They contacted the attorney. They wanted to get permission to be inside. They had no basis for a search warrant or subpoena. And so based on that, the attorney said he wasn't going to allow that to be done. And so the officers couldn't do any more at that point.
Chief, I happen to know that you all work very quickly and you guys seem to know everything all the time. So why did you not find out until Sunday that this report existed, and why are we not finding out until today?
Okay, so I had no knowledge of it till Sunday evening, late. And so our senior staff started looking into it. We needed to have more information to research exactly what it was. When I had the information that it might be a report out there, I wanted to know what happened. What did the officers do? What was the response? What was the follow-up investigation? Who was contacted? Was the FBI contacted? What all did we know? And so they worked on that. And we actually pulled one of the hazardous device unit guys off of the blast site so I could get more information. So it just took time to get that. And actually, I was going to take the day off yesterday. I came in, I talked to Don Avery, and he was still working on it, just diligently trying to get all the information we could, and we finished up this morning.
Why did you think his name was out there on Saturday and possible person of interest? Why did your files not get searched?
We had some communication issues too. We found that all of our executive staff need to have at least 2 sources of communication. We had my phone is AT&T, everything was down. We're going to have Verizon, so 2 different sources. We were inundated with calls around the world actually, that's still coming in, and we're just researching all that information. That's not something I would do. I rely on my staff, and as soon as they got it prepared and told me yesterday, then I was ready to move forward with it today. I just needed, even to this morning, a few more follow-up questions just to be sure.
I don't understand. These reports are public record, and there are plenty of times where people are accused of crimes and the records are put out with no, extra research. Why couldn't the research come later and put out the report right away?
I didn't hear the last part, I'm sorry.
Why would you not put out the report right away and do the rest of the research after?
Well, the thing is, we have to know what we have. I mean, I don't think you want me to put out a report and then stand here and say, I don't have any other further information. I can't give you any more. We needed to make sure what we had. There was a report that had been made. It was a matter of record. It didn't say that it was aggravated assault, that it was an actual bomb that had been discovered. It was just a matter of record that they have no other information to go on, and we had to find out what else was in that report.
Chief, knowing...
Was there any follow-up after August, or did you try to bring a house-sniffing dog in the area?
Well, you can't get into it. If you pull up the house, it's a fenced-in backyard. It's a wooden fenced-in yard. The officers went by for at least maybe longer than a week or so, and they knocked on the door. They went by, drove several times. They called the Specialized Investigations Division, who they work with the Department of Homeland Security. They checked the FBI databases, and there was nothing else there. And so from that point on, he had one arrest, I believe, in 1978 of a marijuana charge, and since then he's been squeaky clean. There was no other calls for service or anything during that time.
Chief, no. If it was serious enough to warrant the investigation, why wasn't there a follow-up and appointment
3 months later. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still trying to find out information on that. I mean, it was just all this is still new. We're gathering information on that. But I know the officers went by at least for a week. There was no other calls. They had no other information. The attorney even said that he felt that he wasn't violent, and although he was capable of making a bomb, that he didn't feel that a crime was being committed or he was violent.
Chief,
I'm sorry. If we would have had probable cause to get inside the home with a search warrant, we would have. There was just the attorney said that he would not allow us to go. He would not allow us to not let him be able to let us do that, to search the home. That was the statement. I mean, I'm still gaining information too.
Chief,
So.
knowing what you know right now, Chief, let me ask you this.
What could you have done differently to vet this tip? Is there anything we can do in the future? Because people are scared that there's other tips out there that we're not following up on.
I believe the officers did everything they could legally. Maybe we could have followed up more. Hindsight is 20/20. But one thing that I think, what I'm sure that I'm going to do, that we don't have a officer on the Joint Terrorism Task Force, which is connected to the FBI. And so that was brought to my knowledge as well. And so we'll start that. We'll put an officer on that team to eliminate any gaps. And that's what we're going to do. We're still determining information. And so as we find out what gaps there may have been, what we could have done differently, we'll address it.
Chief,
So.
I'm wondering, was the mayor notified before y'all released that report, or anybody else? Like, who knew about this before it was released?
I did talk to the mayor. We had a discussion about it, that we was following up on information, that we still was gathering information even on up until this morning. And so I just relayed that as soon as we got everything that we had ready to give a statement, and really I'm just reading over some statements myself. I mean, that's how we've been diligently trying to put this together for everyone. So.
My understanding is that the officers didn't try to get a search warrant. Is that correct? Did they ask the judge for a search warrant?
The officers did not have probable cause to get a search warrant. There was a call for service on a lady who had 2 guns who needed care, and so she needed some assistance. There was nothing else there to say, okay, yeah, we can get. You have to have probable cause that a crime is being committed or about to be committed. Right then, there was nothing other than a statement from someone.
The reason I ask is there's a lot of folks in town, and I'm sure we've all been here to know, who feel like when they interact with the police, officers take any opportunity they have to search their car, search their person, or go get a warrant. And then in this case, they didn't ask a judge. Why didn't they at least go to them and say, here's what we've got, can we look at this guy?
But you had no more than you had no reasonable suspicion to go to a judge. They could have, but it would have been denied. Officers didn't take this lightly. They went back, they knocked on the door, they went several times, they followed up with hazardous devices team unit who deals with explosive. They went to the residence. No signs other than the RV there being closed up. They're experts. They could not smell anything related to a bomb being made. They turned it over to our Specialized Investigation Division, who followed up on it. They called the FBI. Had nothing legally. There was nothing else that could have been done for that.
Are you aware of the FBI doing anything else after that initial contact that the officers made with the department that shared this information with the FBI? Do you know if the FBI followed up? Are you aware of any of
I'm
that?
not aware. I'm still gathering information, and a lot of this is still forthcoming.
Chief, quick question here.
I'm sorry.
The tip came in on Christmas. At what point did the department know Warner's name?
I believe we knew of a possible person of interest Friday. Not Friday, but Sunday. And so, but the FBI was trying to confirm DNA. And so Sunday evening, I believe that Sunday afternoon, they had a press conference at 4.
So there was no communication between law enforcement agencies about Warner's name from Friday to Sunday?
We knew a person of interest, but we didn't know that it was actual him because they were still trying to confirm.
But you knew his name at that point.
I knew his name.
And so there was no attempt to then put that name against Metro Police assets in order to figure out if he had been in this system before?
That's what our senior staff started doing. They started looking up and found there may have been a report. But this is Sunday. This is Sunday evening when they said it might have been a report. but I didn't see a report or anything until that Monday. I had a cabinet call with department heads, and an attorney who listens in on those calls made a note, and he makes copious notes. And in that meeting, I said there may be a report out there. Still then, I had not viewed the report.
Hey, Chief,
And
I know
so
you're still
my
looking.
statement was that it may be. So.
I know you're still looking at this, Chief.
Told us on News Channel 5 that he did not make a statement saying that police were not allowed to check that RV. So who should we believe? The police or this attorney?
Well, you know, I have the utmost integrity, and I have no reason to make stuff up. The officer makes copious notes as well. He has a very strong statement to say that this is what he was told. And after looking him in the eye, I feel confident that that's what he was told. So now the attorney may be saying something else, but I believe my officer in this case.
Hey, Chief, one last question from me. I just want to ask, in seeing what you've kind of uncovered so far, I'm curious, do you believe that there was a lapse in judgment here?
I don't believe there was a lapse in judgment. Maybe there could have been follow-up after, but what are we following up on? You have a lady who said that this guy is capable of making bombs, that he is. The officers try. They knock on the door. They turn it over to hazardous devices who try to ascertain if a bomb has been made. They turn it over to specialized investigation who contacts the FBI. And so if officers go back to his home continually with nothing else and they knock on his door and nothing ever comes out of it, he never grants consent, or we never determine anything that gives us probable cause to get a search warrant, then the narrative is that we're harassing him. And so we have to continue investigating until we have enough to get either a search warrant or his consent, and we didn't have that.
Contacted him before clearing the case?
I'm still trying to find if the case was cleared, if it was still open and was just, going to be followed up on. Sometimes you have open records that are followed up on later.
But following that investigation, they never talked to Warner again. They never talked to Warner at all.
They never made contact with him. They tried to make contact with him, but they never did. So.
Chief, did you talk to the FBI at all on why when they were notified that they would have some contact?
We've talked to the FBI and they've run him in his database, but as far as I know, they're still following up. I don't know if there was any more
They
that
couldn't
they had
get
to
close
follow
enough
up,
for the
of course,
dogs
and
to
they
do
could answer,
anything,
but I don't know if they had any
according to
more
the
they
chief.
could follow up on. We had all the information that we knew, and it wasn't any more than that at the time.
Chief,
How
why
long
would
did you get
somebody say that the director of the TNI says
I'm
that-
sorry, sir.
Why does the director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation say that he was not on anybody's radar when he clearly was on somebody's radar? Your radar, your department, and others who you notified, including the FBI.
So I'm not sure why the director of TBI would make that statement, but what I can say is that there was a matter of record report made that a person was making bombs and he was capable of making bombs, but that's all we had right there. We had no actual knowledge that a bomb was made. We had no scent. We had officers go there that's very capable of knowledge. And to hear someone say, hey, if I would have smelled an explosive, that would have given me more to try to get a search warrant. There wasn't anything there. In fact, part of the investigation, as they went in the house, the dogs didn't pick up scent inside the house. So we had no reason to be in the man's backyard.
So you were in the house? So you got inside the house?
No. This is after. So, yeah.
Chief,
Yeah.
Councilmember Bob Mendes has been tweeting, and he's getting a lot of attention for it, said, bringing up the issue of race, saying that this were not a white man, that more pictures of the weapon would be put out quicker, also that it might be called domestic terrorism.
Well, I don't want to comment on what Councilmember Mendez said, but what I can say, I have the utmost integrity, and that as soon as we found out more, we put it out there, and I'm here to make a statement and get a truthful account of what happened. For those that actually know me, whether they're in the media or friends or whoever, know that I'm my integrity. And so as soon as we found out more, we put it out there and want people to know we're going to continue following up on that. We're going to continue to follow to see if there are any gaps, any protocols other than the Joint Terrorism Task Force, what we could do differently. But
what was your reaction, Chief, when you heard that there was a chance that police could have gotten this man in 2019? And how did you react when that report came across your desk?
When I heard it was out there, it made me wonder what happened, what's in the report, what follow-up was done, what is this man capable of. From what I've heard, he wasn't violent. That maybe he had some issues or concerns or beliefs, but that he wasn't violent. And so they had nothing else further to go on. And so it just made me question what else was there, what else can we follow up on, and we're continuing to follow up.
Do we know where he got the vomiting materials yet? Or?
No, I actually asked that question this morning. A lot of that's been flown off to Quantico, Virginia. They're still following up on what was used.
Chief, how frequently do you all get tips that are this specific?
They come in. We get tips like that all the time. We get tips that don't pan out. Don't get a lot of bomb tips like that, but you get a lot of a wide array of different calls, and so they followed up on it. The officers didn't take it lightly. They didn't have anything else to go on, so they start knocking on doors. They start following up with other units to try to find out as much as they can. Even
Did they talk to a neighbor or call any other relatives or anything?
to the best of my knowledge, they talked to neighbors and done everything that I know of. But we're still examining. I mean, what could have been done differently? What gaps do exist other than the Joint Terrorism Task Force? And so we're still looking for those answers. And hindsight's 20/20. But if we could have had more to go on, it would have been good.
Any more information about a motive at this time?
Any more what?
Any more information about a motive at this time?
About a what?
Motive.
Motive? Don't have any. It's just all speculation. That's all under investigation as far as the FBI has been conducting this, and so they're looking at it. But no additional on a motive.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you.